Hi, good morning. My name is Cecil C. from SingaporeStudent.com. Today I'm going to explain to you some chemical concept in O-level. This lesson is suitable for secondary 3 or secondary 4 student taking O-level. The topic today is about chemical reaction between acid and base. In my opinion, this chapter is quite simple, but still some students find it difficult to do this, to give a reaction on acid and base. I already prepared this pattern. You have I give you 4 patterns. The first one is the one at the top here, is the reaction pattern between acid and base. And I think you might have heard about this from your teacher. The pattern is very simple. Acid plus base produce salt and water. Then I produce a pattern for chemical equation, ionic equation, or word equation. So sometimes in the question they mention, they ask you to produce a chemical equation, so you follow this pattern, which is very simple. Sometimes the question specifically asks for word equation, and you use the pattern here at the bottom. Sometimes the question asks for ionic equation, which is also very, very simple. So you're going to use the pattern for the ionic equation. Today we are going to use example, a very simple example. Let's say the question asks for reaction between sodium hydroxide and hydrochloric acid. Then it depends on what type of equation the question asks. Let's say the question asks for the word equation between sodium hydroxide and sulfuric acid. So we follow the pattern for word equation. So we just write down here on the green box sodium hydroxide and hydrochloric acid as the reactant. The product is easy for you to deduce. We just follow the connection here. If you have reaction between sodium hydroxide and hydrochloric acid, then the salt that you're going to produce is going to be sodium chloride. And of course, as a byproduct, you're going to produce water. What if the question asks you about ionic equation? Then it's also very easy for us to do hydrochloric acid. If you dissolve that in water, then you're going to produce one cation and one anion. In this case, the anion will be Cl-. And sodium hydroxide will produce cation and anion. In this case, the cation will be Na+. So the reaction, the product that you're going to produce is Na plus Cl-. So we just can copy the red box here, right? You're going to produce Na+ and Cl-. We just copy that. And don't forget that sodium chloride is soluble salt. So we are going to cancel the spectator ion. In this case, the spectator ion are Na+ and Cl-. So we get this product. Water the Na plus and Cl minus, we call them spectator ions. In the case of chemical equation, it's also very easy. So you just, in the case of chemical equation, you don't have to split it into ions. You just write down the chemical formula of the acid and the base. In this case, hydrochloric acid is HCl, and sodium hydroxide is NaOH. Yes. And of course, the product is sodium chloride, and the chemical formula for that is NaCl. So this is a very simple example of reaction between acid and base, and depends on what the question asks. We can give them either chemical equation, ionic equation, or word equation. Coming next is a little bit more complicated reaction between acid and base. Thank you. Alright. This is the next example of reaction between acid and base. Let's say you were asked to write down word equation of reaction between sulfuric acid and potassium hydroxide. So it's easy for us to do that because we have this pattern here. Sulfuric acid and potassium hydroxide, so we put it here. Sulfuric acid and potassium hydroxide. The product is of course very easy. We just follow the pattern here. Water is of course produced. Then the salt produced is potassium sulfate. Right, so this is the word equation. Sulfuric acid plus potassium hydroxide produce potassium sulfate and water. If you are asked the chemical equation for this reaction, is also very easy. Sulfuric acid is H2SO4. If you write down like this, you're making mistake. A lot of students make this mistake. Maybe because you haven't memorized the charge. SO4 is 2 minus. So don't forget H2SO4, which means that ionic equation, you're going to write down SO4 2 minus here. And potassium hydroxide is KOH. You don't need to add any number because this K is, the charge of K is plus 1. Then the chemical equation, the salt produced, water is of course produced. The salt produced is, if we follow the pattern here, is KSO4, which is wrong because the charge here is not balanced. Because K, the charge of K is plus 1, SO4 is 2 minus, so you should write it down as K2SO4. And after you write down all this, you're halfway done. You still must balance the equation. You have 2K here, so you must put 2 here. So you're producing 2H plus, so and 2OH minus. So you must put 2H2O. Yeah, it's easy to balance this equation. In the case of ionic equation, H2SO4 produce H plus and SO4 2 minus. Don't forget to put the number of H plus produced. In this case, you're producing 2 H plus instead of 1 because H2SO4 is a dibasic acid contain 2 H plus. So we put it here. KOH, you split it into K plus and OH minus. And if you write it down, it's still wrong because you must because you have 2 KOH. So you have 2 K plus and 2 OH minus. You just copy the green box and red box here. So 2K plus and SO4 2 minus. And don't forget to cancel the spectator ion. The K plus is the spectator ion, and SO4 2 minus also spectator ion because K2SO4 is a soluble salt. Now this is the ionic equation, right? So that's my second example to explain to you about this reaction pattern. I have another video about this reaction pattern, a slightly more complicated one. So find my video. Thank you. See you.